So my father is someone who's had a really positive influence on me. For the last number of years, I've had the privilege of watching him as he grew older. As he grows older, I've watched him grow gentler, and I've watched his love and his emotions come a little closer to the surface. And I think with that, I've also noticed that it seems like the depth of experience also grows with that vulnerability. And I think having that as a role model in my life has showed me that the process of growing into a man and growing into my manhood is something that will continue for my whole life. And that's been a really amazing thing that's been role modeled for me. So when thinking about what a male role model should be, I think to me it's someone who's brave enough to be more than a bystander. And what that means is when you hear a sexist joke or someone making inappropriate comment, being brave enough to call that out. And also being brave enough to call it out in a way that lets everyone save face and possibly learn from it. On top of that, I think it's someone who's strong enough to admit that it is easier to remain silent. And in that way, it shows the hard work of the unlearning that we have to do as men, many things that we've been taught. And in that way, when we show that work and we show that process, other people can learn from us, and we can all learn together and move forward together. In terms of handling how to be a male role model, I think for me it comes down to the fact that at any time you might be role modeling behavior for someone and you don't know it yet. I think back on moments in my life that at the time they seemed pretty unimportant and insignificant, and then years later I find that they're a defining moment that I'm still looking back on. And those moments are even harder to tell they're happening when you play a role in someone else's defining moment. And in that way, anyone can be a role model at any time, and someone probably is taking cues from you. And so I think the question is what type of role model you're going to be, rather than if you're going to be a role model or not. And I think for myself, I would like to be a role model that shows my vulnerability, that shows my work, that isn't afraid to talk about the mistakes I've made and my process of becoming a man and hopefully a good man. And I think that's the type of role model I would like to be.